Hey, hey, it's the bear from Grasshopper and the Bear. You like what you see? You like what you're listening to? Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Grasshopper and the Bear.
Gentlemen,
What's going on, man?
What's up,
What's up
Sensei
with you?
Kevin?
how's everything?
It's good.
man.
What's up, Sensei
Good.
Kevin?
What's up
Good to
with you,
see
man?
you.
Man, I'm super blessed. I cannot complain about, well, there are things I can complain about, but I'm good.
Yeah. You know what? I mean, well,
Your
we listen if
triumphant,
you want to.
your triumphant
everybody else
return. I see you all
Huh?
lined up and cleaned up. Looks good, Sensei Kevin.
Yeah, I hooked it up yesterday. I've been giving myself fade, I've been giving
Over there,
myself
crispy.
I've been learning
Hey,
how to do it. So
Hey, man, that's economical. You know what I'm saying? Time
Not
saver
just
too.
that.
It's awesome to have you back. Thanks for spending some time again with us. So, I mean, between like teaching your ongoing classes, teaching seminars, your fiance competing for the first time in karate and in sparring contact,
Yeah.
and she won.
Yep.
And also your new article, The Deadly Art of Self-Defense magazine, that's very popular, getting tons of traction on that. And I will read it and leave my comments and thoughts. And
Awesome.
also you're on another podcast recently too. And I caught a quick clip. I still have to watch it, but the little clip that I saw, the first thing was so funny. It was like our last interview. The first thing you said was like, "Can I swear on here?" I'm sorry, I swear a lot.
Yeah, I had to forewarn him because his thing is about like health, awareness, mental health, and things like that. So
Yeah.
the one thing that attracted him to me was my cancer situation, because I
Okay.
met him. I
Yeah.
was introduced to him online through his brother. His older brother trains with me when I go to Philly.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
his brother kept trying to link us up, and it never happened. So he ended up moving to Florida, and he's like, I didn't know that you had cancer. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Then I found out that there's videos of you doing kata with the EIV on, like in the gown. And I'm like, yeah, it's on Facebook. Like it's there, from 2018, 19. So that's what we wanted to talk about. And the conversation was so long, I kind of veered off. And I said all kinds of crazy things. I have people, and I want to apologize to those people real quick. I have people that feel bad that I didn't mention their names when I was talking about some of the people who came to see me in the hospital.
Okay.
Mention it
Truth
here.
be told, this happened 3 years ago, right? So I
Okay.
try to explain to them, when you're on a podcast and you're talking off the cuff, you're not going to remember 200 people's names.
Mhm.
That's just the reality. Like when you get an Academy Award, are you really going to remember every single person that helped you along the way, or the people
Not at
that
all.
spent the most time with you, or
Right.
you know what I mean? And I feel bad
I
that some
know.
people feel bad. So if you're watching this, Peter Torres, I'm sorry that your feelings are hurt. I apologize that I didn't mention you last time, but you did come and see me, and I did appreciate it. And there were other people who came to see me as well who weren't mentioned, like Louis Ehlers and things like that. And I do apologize if I didn't mention your name. But like I said, I did have a large community of people visiting me, and that did mean a lot to me. So
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's great. You had that support.
Okay.
And I think
Good
a
deal. Good
lot of
deal.
people don't know about that you went through and beat cancers, because you also you downplay it a little bit, or you talk very nonchalant about it, like almost like it was nothing, which it wasn't. I think that's just your personality too. You try not to make a big deal about it, that you went through that life threatening situation. But again, we're glad you came out of it. And I'm sure those guys like to hear your story and how you persevered through that and how you're doing today.
yeah, I mean, it was what it is I try not to gripe on it too much, because I think when people hear me, I get two sides of the coin. I have people that say I use it as for sympathy. People say that.
Really?
There's guys
Really?
out there most recently that were saying, oh, Kevin says that he had this and did that because of sympathy. I have people trying to say that I faked it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have people, someone commented on one of my posts saying that I faked cancer. I'm like, yeah, okay, tell that to the testicle that I lost. But whatever. Tell that to the fact that I can never have children again. But whatever. So I did go through that in 2018 to 2019.
Okay.
I was able to recover,
Sure.
thank the powers that be. And yeah, I try to just kind of I look at it as an opportunity to reflect. I said to myself, now moving on, I have to do the best that I can to make a mark in this world. Because when you're in that position, you think to yourself right away, you start replaying in your mind, did I leave an impact on this planet? Did I affect people? Did I help people? Did I motivate people in a way that made them a better person? So kind of my mission, especially with all the videos and stuff that I post, some people try to make it feel like they're getting attacked when I say certain things, but it's more like as I'm getting educated, I want to educate others. I want to pass this information on. Sometimes so much so that, sensei will be like, hey, you're giving a little bit too much. And I get it. It's like, let them come train, let them come look for the information. But I just try to help so many people as much as I can. It's hard because sometimes our schedules might not link. There's people that are like, hey, I can't make the class because of work or what have you. So, I understand that. So I try to make videos to kind of push that out. So when I do anything that's like my own drills or anything that's my personal, I don't mind people, I share it. I mean, I know no one's going to get it from a video. They try to pretend like they can, but if anyone who's trained with me and seen me do it live, sometimes it's even harder picking it up still when I'm trying to explain it. Some of the drills aren't easy to pick up, but I try to give them information and knowledge. And, I had the opportunity to be on the Deadly Art of Survival magazine. They actually do a little piece. I was given the title, actually. I was given the topic, which is the martial arts versus the traditional martial arts versus the modern day stuff.
Yeah, let's get into that a little bit. Let's talk about your article and tell us again the name of the everyone watching, the name of the magazine so they can look it up and where they can find it, and then talk about the article, please.
Absolutely. Yeah. The name of the magazine is the Deadly Art of Survival magazine. Deadly Art of Survival is actually a martial arts style that was put together by Nathan Ingram out here in New York. He has a dojo in Chinatown. It's been there since like the 70s. So he, his son, and his daughter-in-law came up with the idea of putting together a magazine. And he approached me about writing an article, and I thought that was super cool. He knows that I like to talk about controversial topics, which I always do. So he said, hey, let's talk about this. Yeah, I mean, I'm the king of that. So he said, hey, let's talk about this. We'll put it in the magazine and see where it goes. And I think it's been pretty successful. I've gotten some nice reviews. I'm very happy. Right now, it's #1 on Amazon's bestseller list 2 weeks in a row. And yeah, it's been going well, and I appreciate everybody who supported that. Anyone who bought it for Odette Russell's article, or for my article, or for the feature of people like Kai Leong and Abdul Aziz and all those folks. Whatever the reason your motivation was for supporting it, I appreciate you for supporting it. Because even if you bought it for one article, you got to learn something about somebody else. You're going to pick up another jewel, So that was the blessing of that opportunity. So you can get it on Amazon. You just type in Deadly Art of Survival, and it pops up. Like, it's literally like the second thing on the search panel. The first one, I believe, is the book that he wrote. I believe that was in the early 90s, and it was the same name, Deadly Art of Survival. But this was the magazine. And the second edition is coming out mid-December, which I'm going to be having a article, a much more in-depth, deep article about kata and how important it is to everyone's martial art, whether you do karate or not, how it actually is a part of your martial art, you may not even realize it. So I go into like the history of kata, give some historical facts. I break down the kanji. It's like it's super deep. It's like 4 pages.
Okay. Wow.
So that's on your feet. They're going to focus more on kata in the future article, correct?
The next article is going to be a whole article. I already submitted it. It's 4 pages on Word. So I don't know how long it'll be in the magazine because it's pictures that'll be produced, but it's going to be released in mid-December.
What was the first article about, the one you recently did, the one that was just released on Amazon?
It was traditional martial arts versus non-traditional martial arts.
Yeah, go into that a little bit if you don't mind. So you don't have to give away the whole article so people actually read it, but give us a little gist.
Yeah, kind of the gist of the thing is right now the big craze is MMA, right? And I respect what those guys do. Most people know that my roommate is actually a world champion MMA competitor. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I respect the hell out of those guys. I dabble myself in BJJ. But the thing about it with the culture is the issue for me. 90% of the time, unless the guy has a traditional background, he tends to be a douche. Like if the person doesn't have some sort of traditional background, they just go into MMA, their attitude is a little funky. Like one of the things I was talking about with Aaron, and the last thing is because he is a black belt in Shotokan, and he trains in MMA. So he says when he goes to he would go and meet up with these guys that were like a fight club, and they were all Taekwondo, Shotokan, Goju, different styles that you can spar with somebody and feel like you're learning. Then when you go into an MMA gym, they're trying to kill you. And it's like, dude, I'm here to learn. Like, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like, relax.
Right.
Like that.
Right.
And mentality is more like I'm a young college guy and I'm trying to kill the dude next to me. It's not like we're trying to get in shape and we're trying to learn from each other. So even he had mentioned that he saw that big divide. Like the traditional martial arts, in my belief, will give you more of a base on like a family environment, right? We bleed together, we train together, we're in this together. I have friends to this day that used to train with me in Sato with Nakamura, that if I needed something, you know, those people came to see me in the hospital. And I'm not no longer affiliated with that group. And that group, I don't want to say this like this, but it's true. They're kind of like a cult. So like if someone leaves them, Nakamura will tell people, don't see them, don't talk to them, don't associate with those people. I was in a hospital. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble by saying their names, but there were 4 people who came to see me that were part of that group, and they came. They were there for me. You know, they weren't allowed to take pictures with me. Some of them, because they were like, you know, they know I was sharing that because hey, these are my support system, so they didn't want to get in trouble. But there's people to this day that are in that circle that are there for me, whether or not we wear the same patch or not. And I feel like the traditional arts will give you a base that shows you more about long-term goals and short-term goals, as opposed to like, okay, I'm gonna take 6 months of boxing, 2 months of Muay Thai, 5 months of BJJ. Now I'm gonna go into the ring and I'm gonna be the master man. Like I feel like a lot of these guys feel like they have the answer to everything. Anytime they see something online, that's BS. It doesn't work. On a traditional guy, you'll see something, you might not like it or agree with it, you'll keep it moving. You won't bash anybody for the sake of bashing anybody. You won't comment on something, be like, yeah, that sucks. You'll be like, and leave it. Or maybe you'll make contact with the guy and say, hey, you know, maybe you'll try this, or hey, maybe we could work together sometime, as extending an olive branch. That's just the thing that I've noticed. I've when I post something on TikTok, most of the comments that are good and productive and how do I want to word this, kind of constructive, are from people with traditional backgrounds. So the comments I get that tend to be a little bit douchey are the guys that probably never done anything and just started doing MMA like a year ago. And they make the stupidest comments. Oh, it goes Kung Fu Panda. Oh, blah. Oh, that won't work in the street. Well, I live in one of the most dangerous cities in the world. I've been living. I beat cancer. I beat the streets. I've survived gangs and shootouts and all kinds of crazy stuff in the Bronx, and I'm still here. But I'm doing martial arts all my life. There's got to be a reason for that. Why do you think that is? Because I've used the stuff that doesn't work. Oh, that's bullshit. So it goes into that kind of like my belief and kind of the foundation that that the martial arts will give you on a traditional standpoint versus just kind of going in there thinking you know everything because you've been doing it for 6 months. But it also talks about how we can learn from each other and what are the benefits, I feel, of that MMA training that some traditional schools may lack. So I go into that kind of like why I think one is what the difference is in the two. And I'm very biased, and you'll see me in my white geeks. I'm very biased, but
no, but that's okay. That's good. That's what we love about you. You represent for your art as you should. I love that about you. And I think the world would be boring if we all practiced the same martial art or the same style of combat or had thought the same way or came from the same culture or lineage. I think it's great that we all have different representations and everything has something to offer. And I love karate. Karate made me want to do martial arts, movies, the art itself. And I'm still doing martial arts all this time till today.
Yeah, and the thing about it is like those are the same guys that are like, oh, Bruce Lee will get crushed in a cage. And it's like, okay, Bruce Lee was a movie star, and I've been known not to be his biggest fan, but people fail to forget, like he was one of the first real mixed martial artists. He trained with Judo Jean LaBelle. You know, he trained with all these guys. He cross-trained in FMA. He cross-trained in Judo. He actually trained in Karate. A lot of people don't know that, but he did. Even on the movies, he would bash it. He spent time with Fumio Diamora. He trained with these guys.
Yeah.
People don't know this, but it's the truth.
I know this, Sensei Kevin. I know this. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. He trained with everybody, every style. If you read the old magazines, old articles, there's pictures with him with karateka practicing. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much you can learn from other arts. You just have to be open-minded about it. That's why when people don't know my history, they'll laugh. Oh, you get smashed in this. I'm like, dude, I've done BJJ. I dabbled in judo. I've done FMA. I've dabbled in these things. Not that I've mastered them, but I've cross-trained with people. I have friends to this day. I could call and be like, hey, let's do some redondo. Let's do some, floete. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do the heaven 6 and the heaven 5. And let's do these drills. You know what I mean? Let's work
Mhm.
escape from a butterfly guard. Let's work side control. Let's work mount. I have that on my Rolodex because I've been doing this for so long. But people think
Mhm.
because I push the traditional Okinawan karate so much that this is all I've done. I'm like, oh no no no.
Mhm.
It's a big amalgamation of things. It's just this has always been my bread and butter is the karate,
Mhm.
whether it be the Japanese stuff or the Okinawan stuff. That's been kind of the base, and then everything else I've done is just kind of the two make it better. Iron Man has a suit, but over time, Mach 5, Mach 7, Mach 8, he
Right,
keeps building
right.
on that suit. And it's the same thing. It's the same, concept is try to build from other people and learn.
Yeah, definitely. Since the Kevin, you haven't stopped since our last interview, man. I mean, you've been doing it, man.
You're very intentional with all your with everything you're doing. I love it. And you finally, I
Absolutely.
feel like you finally get some recognition, or not, you probably already had recognition, but you're getting even more recognition, well deserved for all
I
your
appreciate it. Thank you.
contributions.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's been quite a ride lately because I've been in like digital magazines. One was like in Mexico. And then like my student had a thing that he was doing. So and then there was another gentleman, Hanchi Eddie Morales. He had a thing called Martial Force that I did like in 2009 or 8. So I've been in digital magazines. This is actually the first time I've been in print. So
Mm.
that's kind of cool. I've been in
Awesome.
the newspaper, but I was like for
Like old school Black Belt magazine.
yeah, like
Hey,
I've been in a newspaper, but I was because I was a valedictorian of my high school. So
Oh,
that
wow.
doesn't really, that's not martial arts related. So this is the first time I've actually been like in print with pictures of me. That I thought that was kind of cool. It was a cool
Mm.
opportunity. It still is.
Sure.
I'm just trying to do my thing. I mean, this is the time. One of my instructors from a different art. My instructor actually has a fifth dan, a Shotokan. A lot of people don't know that. So one of his instructors, Jerry Offit, Hanshi Jerry Offit. This guy's like the highest ranking Shotokan guy outside of Japan. Like he's total badass. This dude was like a 49-0 kickboxer back in the 80s. He's like no joke.
Mm.
And one of the things he said to me is, you have to understand, you're a very integral part of Scott Mertz's legacy. Um, it's
Wow.
your job to show people and expose the art in the States, especially in the New York, tri-state area. That's where there's a lot of martial arts. It's your job to do this. And I thought that was really cool. He would even write beautiful posts, that I was the perfect candidate to do that kind of thing. And I appreciate that, and I do take that responsibility very, very, very with like high regard. That my teacher, Scott Martanchi, he's
Sure.
Hanchi now. He was promoted recently to 8th dan. He doesn't talk about it. He hasn't announced it, but it's the truth. He was
Mm.
promoted recently to 8th dan, so congratulations to him. He's out in Okinawa,
Mhm.
and he does like Zooms and stuff. And I try to bring people in when he gives me the green, like, hey, it's an open class. So I let people, see what he's doing because what he's doing
Sure, sure.
isn't what people think karate is. And I've mentioned this in another podcast, is that people have a view of what karate is, right? 9 out of 10 times, it really is taekwondo that they see in a mall, but the sign says karate. But you go to the school, it's like
Mm.
a freaking flag of Korea, nothing to do with karate, but they use the term karate to draw people in. They did this a lot back in the day when the Korean guys were first coming over here. It was Korean karate. That was the tagline.
yeah.
Most
Mm.
it's not karate. It's an offshoot of Japanese martial arts in most cases, but it's not karate. The Okinawan stuff you really didn't see like that back in the day, and what people got most exposed to was just a half of a system or part of a system. And it's sad to say that, but it's the truth. They became
Mm.
partial artists. They weren't learning any oyo.
Okay.
They weren't learning any applications to the kata, and that's the bread and butter. I've been in places where people were high-ranking belts, and they're asking me to break down their katas that I've never seen before, and I can do it. I'm like, show
Mm.
me the kata, and I'll give you 10 techniques from the first movement, and they're like, how'd you do
Mm.
that? Because I understand the movement.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
sure.
And it's sad to
Mhm.
see people with rank that don't understand their own movements that they're doing all the time, and they're teaching. So Mertz
Sure.
Hanshi is one of those people that he's just an encyclopedia. Honestly, he's the best instructor I've ever had. I mean, like it's just on another level with the
Mm.
material.
How long have you been training with him for? Since the Kevin?
Oh
How
Jesus,
long?
I
I'm sorry,
started
excuse me.
with
How long
him
have you
in
been
about
training with him?
I started with him in around 2015, but I really got
Okay.
super like more able to like my schedule changed in
Sure.
like 2019-ish. That's when I was able to
Okay.
kind of go more full bar with everything. In terms of just
Sure.
time, my life changed. I got super available. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
My life changed a lot, so my schedule was different.
Okay.
So it helped. And then the pandemic actually made it even easier because there's such a time difference
Mm.
between here and Okinawa. So even to this day, I don't know if you've seen some of the posts. I do 4:30 in the morning classes with him, privates, and then I do
Nice.
evening classes. So I teach my classes Mondays and Thursdays typically,
Mhm.
and then like
Mhm.
there's a weekend if there's something not going on, I'm like, hey, want to do a class, guys? And I'll do something like I did this Saturday. He
Sure.
does his on Wednesdays and Fridays,
Okay.
but Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday morning. Oh no, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays mornings. I'm doing 4 a.m. classes with him. So usually
Mm.
between 4 and 5 a.m. I'm doing the classes with him too. So I'm getting like double dipping. And then
Okay.
during the pandemic, we would do
Sure.
sometimes 3 times a day because I was home. So he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I can't sleep. Nothing. Oh, let's work. Let's do
That's
comma.
dedication,
Oh,
Kendrick.
man.
Yeah, let's do toifa. So I get up
Very
and I
much
do
so.
it. So the bad
How many?
thing
How,
with this one. Mhm.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I was going to ask. On average, how long do you guys spend training? An hour or two?
Yeah, we usually do about an hour. Like when it's
Okay.
private, it's about an hour.
Sure.
And then we have
Okay.
like a 30-minute combo afterwards
Okay.
about the material, where it came from, the concept of it, who we got it from, who created it,
Sure.
that kind of thing. Because the one benefit that I have that most don't is, and this is not to knock anybody, but
Okay.
he's been in Okinawa so long, he has a rapport with people that most don't, right? So like when people
Sure.
go over to the foreigners, they're a little funky about teaching things because they know that people like to share stuff. So he's spent years building these rapports with these people like Wema Sensei and Motobu Choki's grandson, Naoki, and all these people. He's been able to get this material that no one else has their hands on. You know, he only gives to his closest students. So,
Sure.
and I share in time because a lot of it's more advanced material. But
Sure.
what I do
Sure.
is I let my guys train with him. So I tell them, hey,
Hmm.
here's the link to the class. I ask his permission, and they train with him as well.
Wow. You, in terms of your goals or aspirations for the rest of the year, what are you looking to do for the rest of 2021? And tell us about what you want to do going into 2022. Because it's like, I mean, brother, like I started to say earlier, you haven't stopped. It's like after the interview, I mean, you were doing what you were doing prior to, but after the interview, I just see you post and, you know, you doing this and I'm going here, I want to go here. And I mean, just all this good stuff going on, man. Tell us
He's
about,
on the
again,
move. He's
what you got
intentional.
planned for the
He's
rest of the
Yeah.
year.
So
Right, for real. And what's going on for 2022? You know, talk to us
So
about it.
2022, I already have a seminar booked in January 22nd, 2022.
Okay.
I'll be in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
So yeah, Robert J. Cherry, a good friend of mine, he goes online by Nicolais McLeod, because he has a rock band and stuff, but his name is Robert Cherry. Shotokan
Okay.
stylist. I did a seminar for him back in like 2013. Beautiful time. He has a new
Wow.
location, right? Team,
Sure.
it's called Team Karate Academy. So I'm gonna be going over there. I'm gonna do the word we use is toifa, but they call it, most people know it's tonfa. I'm gonna do a tonfa seminar. We're gonna go over some, you know, drills, movements, locks, chokes, things that nobody's ever seen with this weapon before. We're gonna get
Nice.
into. So I've got that in January. February, I'm going to Florida.
Nice. Okay.
My fiance has like a family reunion, so we're
Okay.
gonna try to set up. I'm gonna try to set up a seminar when I'm in there. I'm in talks for that. With one of Little John Davis's students, Carrie Newman. He has a school in Miami, but we're working on that.
Sure.
I'm also supposed to be going to Okinawa, so that's
Nice.
planning.
Man.
Right, that's
Nice.
happening.
Win.
Back to the
We
motherland.
don't have an exact date, but we're looking like
Okay.
middle of the year.
Okay.
Just because I need time, like PTO from work.
Okay.
So that's set.
awesome.
And then another trip to Oklahoma is happening. And
Okay.
then we have Michigan's in the talks too for a seminar.
Really?
So,
Hey, where in Michigan, man? That's where I am, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. I gotta
Yes,
find out
I'm
the
in
exact
Michigan.
name of the
Where in
town.
Michigan?
I gotta find the name of the
Okay.
town. I know it's not
Okay,
too far
yeah, let
from
me
Battle
know.
Creek, I think. So in that area, but I'll find out the exact
Okay.
town. It's
Okay.
my friend Jeffrey
Yeah.
Spohn.
Yeah, okay.
He has a
Cool.
school out there, so we're gonna make that happen. And then
You gotta
man,
go to
okay.
that one too,
yeah, I got
Kendrick.
the magazine in December.
Ain't no trying about it, dog.
Open your
Shoot.
mind. Get those
I'm
skills.
sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'll let you know. Also, Arizona's in the talks too.
Please.
Somebody hit me up about Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, so we're thinking
Okay.
of so next year. I've got Texas, Florida, Arizona's a possibility, but Texas and Florida are definite.
Okay.
Okinawa, Oklahoma's also definite. Michigan is in the talks. So
Okay.
6 places. It's going to be a lot of traveling, and then a lot more
Yeah, yeah,
articles, and hopefully more podcasts and interviews and that kind of thing.
yeah.
So also, Shian Ali Albergo, who's out in Long Island, he was talking to me about doing something on a podcast sometime in January too. So I'm just keeping it rolling, moving. Full charge ahead.
Hey man, I'm excited for you, Sister Kevin. How you feel about all this, man?
I'm happy, man. I'm super happy. I really can't put words to it. Super psyched.
Yeah,
there's
man.
also something else that happened that I really can't talk about until everything it's already set in stone. I'm just waiting for certain things to be in my hands before I make the announcement.
Right.
There's a big announcement that I'm going to be making. That's super dope. I feel like just saying
what okay, now how long do we have to wait for this? With another week?
I don't know. I'm waiting for everything to be done. I want to say like 2 more weeks, but man, I've known for like 2-3 weeks already now, so I'm like going nuts because I'm one of those people that I like to share things like, hey, check this out. Super exciting. But you know what, I'm just gonna tell you guys because I love you guys and whatever. So I was actually promoted. I was given my Renshi license out of Okinawa. So in Okinawa, the way it works is you have 3 teaching licenses. There's 3 in-house and 3 government issued. So the in-house is like a class 3, class 2, class 1, right? Different types of instructors. So like when you get your first dan, you can get an instructor's license to teach people up to a certain rank. When you get your second dan, same thing. So when you get your license from the government, it's a whole different process. Like you actually need a publication. You need a few different things. So Renshi's the first one. You actually need a Renshi to open a school over there. So in the States, they use these titles a little bit differently. They use them for like however they want. So mostly over here, when you become a 4th dan right away, hey, you're a Renshi, right? But over there, it's a different process. And you're actually a 6th dan, not a 4th dan. So it's a little bit higher in ranking. Because at Renshi means polished one or polished individual. So the idea behind that is by 5th dan, you know the entire system. Between 5th and 6th dan, you're polishing the material, polishing everything in the system, making everything sure everything is tight, right? Because they say once you get to black belt, that's the beginning. So from 1st to 5th, you're getting all the material. Everything in the system is coming, boom, all the real secrets and techniques. When you get to 5th to 6th, that's when you're polished. So Renshi really means polished one or polished teacher. That's why it should be a 6th dan, not a 4th dan, because you don't know really anything at 4th dan still.
Well, early congratulations on that. That's exciting news.
I saw it. And he's like, wait till it comes, like, to make the announcement on Facebook and stuff. So my belt's already been in process because there's like a ceremonial belt that when you do like seminars and promotions you wear. It's pretty awesome. I'm like super
excited. Who's I was
gonna ask you,
who made the decision on that? Who's giving that to you? Who are the elders?
My instructor, Scott Mertz, and then his instructor, Toyama Zenshu.
Wow, they've been watching you and they're like, he's the one, and then they're like gonna give it to you now. That's awesome.
It's really cool. It's really cool. And it's funny because my promotion kind of coincided with his. Like he got his promotion, and the Hanshi license a few days before I got my Renshi license. So it's kind of interesting how that works. And the coolest part of it is when you go to Sharado, right, which is the shop where they make all the belts and uniforms. When you go there and you ask for a Renshi belt, they actually ask for your Renshi license. It's like a gun license kind of thing. So like you can't buy a master belt and be like, hey, let me get one. They're like, yeah, no. So when he had me on video, they asked for all that. And he had to present it to them. They had to scan it in the system and hold it. So they have like, I already have a chart where like my name, the kanji that I use, the kanji for my name, my size. So when he says, oh, Kevin wants a TKC 10, they already know my size. They already know how long to make the sleeves because it's custom made when you order it and off the shop. So so when he got the belt, they asked him for it. And he's like, oh yeah, he's Renshi under me in this group. And he gave him the certificate and they had to scan it in the system as proof that I'm really like legit. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Good stuff.
So that was super
brother, you been legit, man. You know what I'm saying? They
I appreciate that. Man. Yeah, but for their end and thank you. I appreciate that. Okinawa, they're not going to sell a belt like that to any slow,
Sure. Wow. Okay. So say, would you you think that New York will always be where you'll be in terms of home is where home is going to be?
No,
Okay,
I
where would
do
you
plan.
like?
I do. We were looking at maybe the Carolinas at some point.
Okay.
Someplace more maybe down south is the original is the goal.
Really? Okay.
It's not even for safety. It's just you get more bang for your buck out there. Over
Okay.
here, I mean, or in order to get any kind of a decent looking house, you have to spend almost $1 million. You know, you can go to North Carolina and get a beautiful house for like $200,000 to $50,000. Like it's just a
Right.
different. It's a big price gap, and everything is just you get more for your money.
Okay.
More land, more
Sure.
things that you can actually root and say is yours. Because also the property taxes in New York are insane.
Yeah.
I got a
Yeah.
family that
Yeah.
own homes out here, and I always say to myself, I would never want to buy a house in New York,
Mm,
like ever.
okay.
There's no land. Like you buy a house and your neighbors right here, you smack them. Like literally, like I've been to houses. My family has houses on Long Island that you can literally spit on your neighbor. That's how close they are. So it's like, do you want
Wow.
that? You know, like you look over your fence, there's already somebody. I prefer
Mm,
to have the land. I could build a dojo. I could do all kinds of stuff. I could build an art studio. You know what I mean?
right.
Like I'd rather
Right.
have that kind of space.
Okay. Two
Shihan,
things,
Kevin, can
Tesla.
you talk a little bit about your fiance's recent performance at the karate event? I know you're very proud of her. I saw the videos of you
Oh
guys
yeah,
training. I was cheering you guys on. You
I
were
appreciate
coaching
it, bro.
her. Is that she won some matches? She won some kata. Talk a little about her first. This is her first time ever, from what I understand,
It
competing or
was
doing a
yeah, it was
contact
the first
tournament.
time ever. I actually did the kata, but she just did the kumite. Super proud of her. Because the thing about it too is like, and people had asked, she literally never sparred with anyone. Like we play around,
Mm-hmm.
but like never like serious. Like I'm gonna kill you sparring. When we grapple, we're a little bit more serious. But like with the
Okay.
sparring, I try to be easy because it's very easy to hurt somebody by accident. Especially
Sure.
when no matter how much control you have, accidents happen. We've hurt each other just holding pads by accident, you know. So I try to be a little nice, but she never sparred with anybody. Most of it was just the drills that you guys see that I posted.
Mhm.
1, 2, check, 1, 2, check, moving around. I will hold like the Bosu ball, and people are like, "Why are you holding that yoga ball?" This is why I'm holding the yoga ball. And I actually have a friend who does something similar with his MMA guys. When you hold that Bosu ball, the material is hard. I actually cut my knuckles on that thing before. The material is hard, but it's firm enough and it bounces back in a way it's like it resembles hitting someone in the stomach. So if you hit it and your wrist is strong enough, you can actually do this. I've actually trained this with people. I see people do this. Guys with black belts do one of these. Mess up their you're hitting something like that. It trains you. It trains your wrist, but also the bounce back is so intense that it teaches you to control the technique and make sure it comes back to your face always. So
Okay.
one of the things that we're pointing out, and if you even watched that one video, I only got one video of her fighting. And one thing I was pointing out to everybody was she never dropped her hands ever, but the other people did because I ingrained it. I ingrained it in all my students. Your hands have to stay up, your elbows have to stay in. Because if your elbows are open and you get hit one of those ribs, oh, you knock the wind out of you. A man can't breathe, a man can't fight. So she never did anything like that before. And I was like, hey, you want to do it? Because he had asked the host, Cody Scott, amazing guy, the most amazing host that I've ever had so far. I mean, this was the most beautiful experience I've had. He was like, hey, if you guys want to compete, no charge, I'll comp you guys, you know. So I said, do you want to do something? Originally, I said kata. And she's like, I don't want to do no kata. I want to hit somebody. I'm like, okay, we'll make that happen. So I told him, what kind of fighting do you do? Because I don't like that point, touchy tag shit. Excuse my language. This is my first curse I've done all day. I was trying to be a good boy.
Congratulations.
I don't like that point sparring shit because I'm like, that ain't real fighting. Now, does it develop things? Sure, timing, whatever, but the stances are all weird. The hoppy hop, it just doesn't work for the street.
Okay.
So they said we do semi-contact, which is Kyokushin style with pads. Perfect. Because she knew. So it's like, okay, Angela, woman, she's got to cover her chest. So it was Kyokushin style with pads. Perfect. That's my bread and butter. That's what I grew up doing anyways, just without the pad.
Right.
So we trained for that in mind. So I would hold the Bosu ball and we would do rounds, 2-minute, 3-minute rounds. And it was so funny because when she got in there to fight, she was never tired. It was good to go. I'm like, damn. And everybody was saying that. I'm like, shit, she could do 5 more matches if she wanted to because of the way we train. Like we would do 2-minute rounds, but we were doing these rounds after we were doing 2 hours lifting. So then we would go into this private area and we would go pick up the bag and work the bag. I'm like, all right, you got this much time. Just hit. Don't stop. Just boom, 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 boom. I'd give combinations, like, you know, to work up to it, but it was like, okay, here's the time period, hit. Same thing with the Bosa ball. And that's even worse because it's snapping back at you. So now you have to learn to control your center when you hit and come back, as opposed to just hitting a bag. It's not the same. Trust me, if you guys ever try hitting a Bosa ball, it's very, very different. And it snaps back so quick. It feels it's like when you shoot a gun and that cock back, it comes back fast. If you hit it quick, it's gonna come back just as fast. So try it. It's actually a super cool exercise. If you have one of those things in the gym where you put your arms here and you do the knee ups, some of those have a Bosa ball. I'll hit that when I'm by myself. Okay. I don't have anyone.
I've seen video of you doing that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll do that. And so she did an amazing job.
Shihan, talk about the leg check block. That was money. That was a highlight.
Yeah, it was the highlight. And this is why. Excuse me. People keep asking me. I have a couple guys on TikTok. One young man in particular, good kid, good intentions. But he keeps asking, how long does it take to use this? How long does it take to use this? If you practice anything enough, I don't care what it is, it's going to become second nature. When you brush your teeth, do you think about it? He's like, no. I mean, when you tie your shoes, do you think about that? No. When you wipe your butt, do you think about it? No. It's the same. So we would work that stupid drill every time. Excuse me. So we would go 1, 2, check. 1, 2, check. 1, 2, check. And at first it was kind of throwing off because there was a rhythm.
That was a leg check though, right? Gian, that was a leg check.
Yeah, so basically
lifting the knee up to block the low kick.
Yeah, and it's a shield for a roundhouse kick. Yeah. And what's nice about that shield, if it's low, check. If it's high, you still check. So it's kind of like, it's, for me, the most surefire techniques for somebody who's beginning. Because it's hard to telegraph things, right? In the beginning. You're like, I don't know if he's going to go leg kick or he's going to go high. But if I pick up my knee to my arm and I throw my knee out a little bit, if he throws a low kick, his shin will hit my knee. Not fun. Or if I come up high, he's going to hit my elbow. That's going to suck. So that's the concept. So we had practiced this so much. At first, she was throwing her off. Like, fuck, oh my. But we worked it so much. She did it in the fight. And I asked her, do you remember doing it? And she's like, no. I'm like, yeah, but you fucking look, there's a picture of you doing it. Oh shit. Because you do it enough, you don't have to think about it. It's just gonna happen. Right. And people don't, I don't get how people don't understand this. Like, it's second nature. If you ever watch Canelo fight, right? Actually, that fight that he had the other day, you see that head work is insane. You think when he's in there, he's thinking about the head work? No, that's natural. Boom, boom, boom. It's gonna be reflex because he works it so much every day. And it's the same. And here's the funny part. Here's the kicker. She doesn't train every day. She trains like on the weekends. That's it. Like an hour at a time. That's it. And she had only been training for like 5 months before she went in there and did it.
That says a lot about the quality of the training. You know what I mean? You're welcome. I mean, it's the
truth,
brother. I mean, like the quality, man.
Like, oh man, I knew that before. I knew she was gonna do good before she even went into the ring, man, or in the tournament. Because I just saw him working. He was working. That's what you do. You work on the basics. You put in the work and you drill, and good things happen. Is what was her thoughts after the match, and is there any fighting in her future?
I don't know. Want to ask? She's here.
It's all good.
It's okay. This is a grasshopper in the bear first. We have Shihan Kevin's fiance, Maritza, recent participant winner in the karate tournament. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi guys.
How you doing, Maritza?
I'm doing great.
Maritza, we saw your match in the karate tournament. How did you feel afterwards? And is there any more fighting in your future that you see?
I look forward to more fights. It felt good. I felt ready. And I have to thank my best friend here.
Nice. He did a good job.
I was ready. I was just I was very, very calm. I know that I became very close with the opponents.
Okay.
And they were nervous and I kind of felt bad, but
because we had real quick. What happened was we did a seminar before the tournament. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's working with the opponents, like in the seminar. So they were like, "Are you fighting?" And she's like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Oh shit." They were like, "Oh," they started feeling like how strong she was. And it was like, "Oh fuck." So it was interesting because we developed a rapport with them.
Sure.
And then to compete, but that's just the name of the game. Like that's what sometimes you fight guys that are in your dojo. That's just what it is. It's like when I was in Sato, we all fought each other every day. But when we had to compete, it was against the guy that I trained with every day. So it's like, It's just like
Part of
having
the game
dating
sometimes. Part of the game sometimes. So yeah, and you
Yeah,
get much
as
more.
my
You
first,
don't really get to know someone until you fight them. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I think
you
so
really get to
too.
know someone once you fight them.
Hmm.
yeah.
You know them on a deeper
Um,
level.
as my first time, the experience was more of I was a mom, so
Okay.
I was soft. I was
She,
criticized
she,
for being soft
she's
at the
very careful
beginning.
with everybody because she's like has a very mothering nature.
Sure.
And it's funny because when she sparred me and then before she had sparred my friend Jason Murray, and she's like super rough with Jason, and he's like fuck, like she's beating up the black belts, but she's nice to these people. And it's like yo, and I was like pretend it's Jason.
Yeah, visualization.
Yeah, because the thing about the knockdown style is if you don't knock someone down, they go by like your aggression. So if you're not being aggressive, they assume that, for whatever reason, you're getting overpowered, even though she
Okay.
obviously wasn't tired. So I
Sure.
told her, I was like, there's no room because the fights actually went into like a 1 minute overtime.
Okay.
Because of that, they needed a clear winner. So I'm like, you have to be aggressive. Like it just, I know whatever, you got nice with them, you're cool with them, but like that, you have to be aggressive. It's just the name of the game. Even when I do my demonstrations, sometimes I'm a little aggressive with my ukes.
Right.
I love them. They're my students. Sometimes I borrow other people's students. But if I gotta tear them up, I gotta tear them up. But I try to be nice because I know what it's like to be the uke and the instructors being like, aggressive. And you're like, yo,
Okay.
dude, chill out. And I've uked for people and they just crack me in the jaw. And I'm like, nice, no control. Because when you're the uke, it's not like you can block because they have to
Right.
demonstrate their technique. But like, dude, if a dude cracks you in the jaw, you're like, that's how it is. Got it. Okay. We get a demo. I'm gonna make you look good. There's gonna be another day when that receipt is coming. It's not gonna be nice.
Always is.
Kendrick, we're looking at
I
this
would like
lovely
her to
couple
fight.
here. Wouldn't you say this is your version of relationship goals, right?
Absolutely.
what
Oh
people
man,
been
martial
telling me,
artists. It's the
Martial
truth.
artists,
Listen,
training, fighting, traveling,
Well, I've
look,
wanted
supporting
this
each
for
other.
so long. It's
Here-
been a long time coming because, like I said, I've been doing this forever. So I've
Yeah.
always been in a situation where people are like, "Oh, I'm interested," or "Oh, that's so cool," and then they realize like you spend a lot of time doing this. Like this is
Yeah.
literally your life.
Life, yeah.
So I do it every day. Like I'm involved in the arts. Literally, I'm in uniform at least 7 days a week, 6, 7 days
Nice.
a week. So I'm always doing something. And
Yeah.
to have somebody that's like down with that or wants to participate with that or really wants to become a part of that culture is a beautiful thing. I've always wanted that because it's not an easy thing to come
And
by. Trust me.
since Kevin, that's something I wanted to ask both of you is when Maritza started training, is that something that you immediately gravitated towards, Maritza, in terms of the martial arts and the weight training? Did you gravitate towards both of those like instantly, or was it a process? And I'm curious to hear, since Kevin, from your perspective, what you observed, and Maritza, from you being the student or the protege, coming from your position as well. So
From my end, from the outside looking in, my personality is I always like to try things at least once.
okay.
And watching Kevin do what he does, he makes it look so effortless and so easy.
Yeah.
It's like, I could do it. Like, if you could do it, I could do it. Tell me what I gotta do. And when you actually realize, like, fuck, this shit is hard. And that's what caught my attention even more. The fact that it looks simple, but it actually isn't. And the work that you need to put behind it and to actually perfect it, you learn to respect it.
Sure.
Sure. And you get hungry for more. Like, shit, that was awesome. The fact that I could do that and this is what I can accomplish with it, give me more.
Okay.
That's where it started.
Nice.
A little secret. When we first
I was gonna tell him that story. Go ahead.
We're getting secrets, Kendrick. Secrets. Let's
I
go.
was gonna tell the story when she was done, but go ahead. You tell it. It might be a different version, but go ahead.
The deal for our relationship for our date was that I would agree to date him if he taught me how to kill someone with a spoon. That was
That's what I said.
Wait, with a spoon? What?
On Facebook, not on a dating app. I was on all the dating apps, and I was just like,
Okay.
they were fucking. They were the worst experiences I had. I'd go out
Yeah.
with people, and I'm like, oh God, this isn't gonna work. I never want to see this person again.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was during a storm, and we just so happened to be both home from work, and there was no work. So I'm scrolling, and I saw people you may know, and I'm like, I don't know this girl, but I'm like, shit, I would like to know this girl. So I was going on her page, like trying to find out the connection, because usually you see like a mutual friend, nothing, because it's all private.
Okay.
So I'm like, shit, okay. So I inboxed her, and I literally remember saying, I was like, hey, good afternoon. Facebook seems to think we know each other, but if I knew somebody as beautiful as you, I'm pretty sure I'd remember. So we went from there, and then we're talking, chatting, and I told her
Smooth,
that I
Shihan,
wanted to know.
smooth.
Yeah, try. So we were talking, chatting, and one of the things I mentioned, I was like, well, the good thing about dating me is I can teach you how to kill a man with a spoon. That was the thing. I was like, well, you date me, I can teach you how to kill a man with a spoon. And
That
I
made you
remember
stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, another thing, when I met her mom, it became a topic. Her mom was like, I love the martial arts. When I was in Dominican Republic, I did martial arts a little bit as a girl, and I love it. Like martial arts is the best.
Wow.
I remember we had that little class, and she kept like joking around. Our mother was like, "Ponte en seria, aprender. You have to learn. Be serious, because martial arts. This is the funniest quote ever. I'm gonna say it like she said it. Martial arts. Your hand is like a bullet, because you can kill somebody whenever you want." It's so funny. She did say that. And I'm laughing. I'm
I
like,
feel like my hand's like a bullet tooth right now, actually. Swear to God.
it's so funny.
Doing martial arts a
She's
long
like, you
time.
have to learn this. You have to learn this.
Got
She kept telling
bullets.
me, you have to be serious.
That's
and you have
awesome.
to learn this. But I remember it was like the second date in or something like that, maybe not even. She's like, send me the link to the class. I was like, oh shit. Okay. So now I'm like trying to show off a little bit because like I got something. But then it became a thing. And it was like, oh snap. And I told my guys who have a group chat, like, hey, the girl I went out the other day, she's gonna take the class. So everybody
Let me
show
flip
up.
you a few
Everybody
times during
goes,
class too.
So I told her that she was taking the class. They're like, oh shit, that's cool. And it is cool because like she said, she has that I'm gonna try anything attitude. So it's like there's never a time where I'm like, hey, let's try this. And she's like, I don't want to do that. So there's people that do that. And I'm gonna say this, there's women especially, they're like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. They're very, I don't want to use the word lazy, but they're full of excuses and they're full of air.
Sure.
So anytime I'm like, hey, let's try this. Okay. Hey, let's go here and do this. Okay. So yeah, when she started taking the classes, I'm like, all right, let's do this, let's do that. Now there are certain aspects, of course, certain people gravitate towards more.
Sure.
She likes hitting things. That's pretty much it. Some people just like refining their key homes. She'd rather work it out while hitting someone or hitting something. There's actually a video when we first started doing mitt work where she like goes through the mitt and I'm trying to move and she still clips me. I'm like,
yeah,
like last I posted it because it was funny.
Yeah, it
I
was.
posted it. Everybody was like, holy shit. I'm like, yeah, I know. I think it was with an elbow. She caught me anyways. I was like trying to move. But like my hands were here in the pads. And I'm like, ooh, she still clipped me. So, it happens, but she's hyper aggressive and I like the aggression. Where it's like, it's not aggressive towards me, but it's easy. It's like, I'm one of those people too that I can turn it on and off easy. Right. She kind of has that natural ability to do that. And not everybody does, So people get scared when it comes to hitting something or scared when it comes to working with someone. It's like, no, let's go. So yeah, the only one thing I have seen is like some of my students will be super like careful because they're like, if I hurt her, he's gonna kick my ass. So they're very like gentle.
It can be normal though. That's normal. I see that.
Yeah. And I tell them, I'm like, yo, it's just like anybody else, So normally when we do gatherings, I just work on myself.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Javi, let's do something different with this one here. I want to get words of wisdom from Maritza, from you, Sensei Kevin, and a collaborative words of wisdom.
That's a great idea. And let's close with that. And also, before we do that, let's. What do you have coming up, Shihan, Kevin? That you haven't already mentioned, whether you want to mention one more time. What do you have coming up this month, next year? Anything you want to mention one more time? And also. Where the magazine, where they can find the article, Daily Art of Survival?
Sure, Daily Art of Survival magazine. So Daily Art of Survival magazine. The owner of the magazine is Nathan Ingram. You can search, you can just Google it, it'll come up. But Amazon's the source. Amazon, you can buy that for Kindle or paperback. I suggest the paperback so you always have that in hand. You can hang it up and do whatever you want to do with it. And if you ever meet one of us, myself, Odette Russell, Kai Leon, Abdul Aziz, any of those people, you can have the Sidochi, Nathan Ingram himself, they can sign it for you. It's a nice little collector's item. So that's on sale now. We have the second edition coming up in mid-December. Like I said, my article's already been sent. That's going to be talking about how kata is an integral, basically kata is the backbone of every martial art. I don't care what martial art you do, what martial art you think you're not doing kata in, it talks about how you actually are doing kata even when you don't think you're doing it. And January 2022, on the 22nd, I'm doing a Tonfa seminar in Houston, Texas. That's going to be super awesome. So yeah, I have the flyer up. If you have any questions, you can inbox me or Nikolai McLeod, aka Robert J. Cherry, out in Houston, Texas, and we are more than glad to give you information. So if anyone's out in the Texas area or can get to Houston, I suggest you go. It's going to be an amazing event. I'm going to teach some stuff that I really haven't unleashed to people. Stuff that I can really share on Zoom anyways. You have to be in person to kind of get choked out with one of those things. So it's going to be interesting.
And your Instagram's My Path to Greatness, correct?
Instagram and TikTok is My Path to Greatness. Facebook is Kevin Pereira. It's the two pictures. It's a picture of the two of us holding up a trophy, so you can't miss it. Yeah.
Take it away, Kendrick. You want you lay it on us, Kendrick. Your question.
Marissa, give us some words of wisdom, personal words of wisdom. Since Kevin, give us some words of wisdom personally from you, and then give us some words of wisdom as a couple.
On anything.
Okay, so ladies first.
Ladies first. Enter every situation on daily basis with a humbled mind. I like to think of it as entering any situation like a child, with millions of questions. Always the questions that used to annoy me from my toddlers was why? Just ask yourself why? Why this works the way that it does. And you will learn a lot more every day if you do that on a daily basis.
That works. Good deal. Thank you, Sensei.
Okay, so for me, like kind of like how she talked about it, to approach everything with a child's mind. And you know, child's mind is basically social, beginner's mind, right? So you want to have an empty mind, empty cup into every situation, whether that be a job, a new martial art, an assignment, a seminar, right? Like, you know, when I travel, I'm not just going there to share. I'm going there to learn from people that I'm with. You know, when I went to go visit Cody Scott, I learned a lot about the culture there in Oklahoma. Now, you know, the Native American culture that's embedded in what they do and how amazing that is. I got to learn about that, you know. So it was awesome to see. So never ever think you know everything. Like I mentioned in the last one, never think you know everything. Always hustle, always keep a mind open. I like to say, stay hungry, but stay humble.
Right. Sounds good. Nice. Sounds good. And lastly, give us some words of wisdom as a couple.
Let's see. As well, the one thing I gotta say, honestly, is open lines of communication. She knows everything. I'm talking about like, I tell her things that I'm like, well, she's like, she knows, but it's like, why do I ever say this? Like, she even knows when I go to the bathroom. Like, there's nothing that I hide. I'm very open. So I think being open and honest with somebody, when they tell you stuff, try not to judge, try to understand the situation. Open lines of communication, friendship is everything, you know. We have a great relationship. We have a best friend type relationship. They say, you know, your spouse should be your best friend. That doesn't mean like marry your best friend. That means become best friends. Does that make sense? So just because I have my homeboy as my best friend doesn't mean I'm gonna go marry the dude. I mean,
no doubt.
That doesn't mean that. That means develop a relationship with your spouse. Like when people are like, hey, let's meet up and hang out, I ask, can I bring her? And in their mind, they're like, damn, he's whipped. No, I like spending time with her. I like being around her. So that's why I take her places. It's not because I want to go because I feel like I can't do anything independently. It's that I feel like every experience from now on, I want to be a shared experience. You know, blessings to, you know, Cody Scott. He said, hey, let's fly her out with you. She could come with me. I've never had that in a seminar where they're like, bring her with you.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Wow.
He brought her with us. You know, we did the axe throwing and, you know, we learned about the culture and You know, we did all kinds of stuff. We had good barbecue and great Oklahoman food. I almost said Southern food, but it is kind of Southern, like fried chicken and all that stuff. But, you know,
Sure.
my greatest advice as a couple is, you know, learn each other's habits, love each other unconditionally. Some habits, you know, I mean, luckily there's nothing that she does that annoys me at all. I'll be honest. There's nothing that I could be like, you know, I'll give her a look every now and then. She knows my ways. You know, when I have my little temper tantrums, she lets me go through it. You know, it's kind of like a child. I'm so used to people like trying to be like, oh, chill out, calm down, relax. You know, because even as a martial artist, sometimes you lose it. You know, you go through something like, oh, you know, I lost my keys or I can't find this. Lets me do my thing and then comes in and soothes me. It's like, hey, is there anything I can do for you? So my best advice is honestly get to really know each other. You know, don't just be in it for like to say you're in a relationship. You know, if you want a relationship, it should be something long term. Like the plans are to get married, not to just date. You know, just like anything, people start a martial art. What's the long term goal? Black belt, right? But just because you get there doesn't mean you stop training.
Sure.
So the long term goal is marriage. Just because you get to marriage doesn't mean you're gonna stop working on the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifelong journey, just like the martial arts.
Okay, that'll work. Maritza, you have anything to add to that? I think it was pretty good with what it was.
Hard act to follow, but give us something.
I'm in love with my best friend, and that equals happiness. If you are with someone and you guys have laid everything on the table and you guys have the same goals, it's golden. It's golden.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Sensei Kevin, keep up the good work, man. Proud of you, brother. Always good to see you and talk with you. You're welcome. Always good to clown and inbox with you on the book as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Maritza, thanks for taking the time to rap with us and share some of your experiences with you. We appreciate both you guys. Sensei will be in touch. You're welcome. You got me pumped up about that Michigan thing, man. I'll be looking for it.
But again, Shihan Kevin, man. Appreciate you, brother. Always, man. Thanks for coming on. Maritza, nice to make your acquaintance, and keep this guy in line for us, will you?
Sure will.
All right.